If you are under earning, and under earning really just means earning less than you know you're capable of. There's no like standard for that. For each person, it's their own. If you're underperforming, same thing there. If you are wanting to be further but haven't really made any strides in getting there and you feel blocked, right? You need to figure out where that is coming from. And here's the one rule, is it can't be from anything outside of you. It can't be because, well, I mean, it can be, but that's what we have to look at. So if your thought is, I can't do anything because the alienator, blah, 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 or because my kids, blah, 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 or I can't make money now because they have gone and told all the people in my town and now I'm stuck and I can't make money, those kinds of things, then we really have to look at what you're considering, like what you're thinking is possible for you in your life. Because I promise you, no matter what your circumstance is, unless you are incarcerated, not funny, there are possibilities, there are ways, there is opportunity for you now, today, in order to provide for yourself, support yourself, and get further than where you are right now. It may take lots of little steps, but there are ways. And you may not always like the ways that are in front of you, but making the best choice between the choices that you have is the way out. Hemming and hawing about it isn't going to get you anywhere. I was watching the School of Greatness, Lewis Howes podcast. I watch it on YouTube. And he had Dean Graziosi on, who I read a couple of his books back in like the 2018, The House on the Hill, 2019 era. They're easy to read, very easy reads. He shared about how his parents split up when he was like 12. His father was pretty abusive. Mom stayed in the house that they had, I guess, and dad was living in like a trailer park or something, but he was living in poverty. And he would come with a baseball bat and break out all the windows of the house and of his mom's car. He would torment Dean's mom. The way he talked about it was even more matter of fact, as I just did right here. And he said, which I found was interesting too, I wondered, it sounded a little bit like an alienation situation, or at least coercive control for sure, because he said he went at 12 years old, he went to his father and said, what will it take for you to stop messing with mom? And his father said, if you move in with me, I'll never bother your mom again. And so that's what he did. At 12 years old, he made the decision, talk about adultification, to move in with his dad, who was living in poverty and didn't have all the things that he had over at mom's house. He was talking about his bike, his friends, and they lived in a cul-de-sac and everything over at mom's house. But at dad's house, they lived in like this slum, basically. The way that he told this story, though, was so impressive because just like I was talking about the end of last week's episode, how you tell the story about your past says everything about where you are today. The past does not need to define you. You define your past. He looked at his past as what actually pushed him into creating a life of abundance because he didn't ever want to live in poverty again. And by the time he was 24 or 27, he was supporting both his mom and dad separately, right? They stopped having to work and he did all of it from then on, which is, he's like an anomaly. But he used his past to push him forward, not to hold him back. So you hear us, me included, I didn't have the resources. I didn't have the know-how. I didn't have, he dropped out of high school. He also has a couple learning disabilities, ADHD being one of them, but also maybe dyslexia. So he had all of these circumstances, predicaments that could actually hold him back and do hold so many other people back, even just having one of those things. And instead, not in spite of it, but because of it, he created this life where he's now in the top 0.1% of the world. And that's exactly what post-traumatic growth is, right? It's not becoming enlightened and evolving yourself in spite of what has happened. It is because of it, right? It's the reason why. For me, with alienation, again, I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. I wish my daughter was home with me today and that she had been with me the whole time. At the same time, I know that I would not be the woman I am today without it. Alienation and all that happened as a result of the abuse that I endured. And let's be honest, the abuser is still active. Abusers are still active in their efforts. Without their behavior, without that, I would not have made the decisions I made to better myself. So I'm absolutely a better woman, a better mom, even from afar, because what happened during the alienation. This situation has caused me to come into myself and also to create my own feeling of abundance in my life. And when you feel abundant, you start seeing examples of abundance around you. I heard somebody say it the other day, and I cannot remember for the life of me where it was, but they were talking about bouncing back from where you were, right? On my Instagram, even, I have get your spark back. And I still really do like that tagline. But then this person said, I don't want to bounce back to where I was. I want to bounce forward. It's not about trying to recreate what already was. No, I want to bounce forward into something new, start creating new for myself. So letting go of that story about what you had before, the relationship that was at one point, how things were, let that go. Instead, decide what you want to create moving forward. And when I say that, I'm not saying let your children go. If that's not what you want to do, then don't do that, you know? I mean, how do you want it to be from now forward? What are you working toward? Not what are you working back to? Because that can never happen, ever. I have 5 or 6 clients and previous clients that in the last 8 weeks or so have each one of them has come to me at some point to report back some version of, you need to have a program for parents that have reunited with their children. There is a whole nother bag of problems, challenges that comes with the reunification, the reconnection. So just be careful what you wish for. And I don't mean like don't wish for the reconnection. I cannot wait for the day that that will happen. And I trust that it will. But also remember that it's not going to just go back to how it was. You want to look towards what you want to create. So I think that it's key. If you want to keep the airflow, you want to keep the energy moving in the quote unquote right direction, moving forward and rebuilding your life. It's so important for you to start looking forward and not looking back behind you. You don't want to recreate, even if the memories that you had before were so amazing. Let them be amazing and let's create something even better for you moving forward, right? Taking all the things that you learned from all of this alienation, no matter how short or long it's been since you've seen your children or connected with them. Now, all of the good stuff that you've learned, you take that, integrate that in with the relationship that you do have. Use that to build on. Don't just pretend like this didn't happen. You can't. It's like, it's impossible. It's just like that song by Macklemore, The Good Old Days. I hear that a lot, always plays when I'm doing my cardio workouts. But anyway, you can't go back to the good old days, no matter what, right? Even like we're talking about the fun years of your childhood, of your young adulthood. Those days were there for a reason. And you going back, have you ever tried to Uncle Rico it and gone back and tried to recreate the fun party days? And then you just like look like the odd 40-year-old out at a bar. It's not cute. You can tell I'm not talking from personal experience or anything. But anyway, you can't recreate it. You're coming from that place of lack again, and you want to come from a place of abundance. Let's make something new for yourself. So how you do it, the second that you start saying, I don't have the blah, 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 stop yourself dead in your tracks. Wait a second. I don't have it now, but how can I get it? How can I create this? Do I even need blah, blah, blah in order to create what I want to do ahead, right? How did other people in a similar situation than me get there? Find that evidence. Look for new evidence to support the new narrative. I cannot stress this enough. The more you're surrounding yourself with evidence that it is feasible, the more that it feels possible for you, sooner you'll get there. So this means also, and I was talking about this and that, I forgot which episode, but I was talking about like auditing your influences, social media and all that stuff, who you're surrounding yourself with. will make or break your process to getting there. It will make it so much harder on you if you are surrounding yourself with people that are weighting you down. I don't mean to sound opportunistic when I say this, but you need to take care of you right now if you're in this rebuilding phase of your life. And let's face it, most of us are. It's not selfish to take care of you and let people go if you need to. If you notice that you're feeling drained or pulled in a direction that doesn't feel authentic to where you're going, where you want to be going, then let these people go. Being responsible for them and their well-being is not your job. Okay? I mean, I say this with all the love in my heart, and I know how hard it is to cut ties with some people, but sometimes it is just time to complete certain relationships. That saying, people are in your life for a season, a reason, whatever. I don't ever remember that saying, but you know what I'm talking about. There are relationships that are not supposed to continue. And the longer they do is the longer you stay stagnant back in those patterns, in those habits, in that way of thinking, because what you surround yourself with will become your reality. So do that audit, because if you're surrounding yourself with people that maybe you're not yet to where they're at, but they are doing things, creating things in their life, that energy to be around that is infectious, and you will start to see it's possible for them and it can be possible for you. Okay? So that is huge, huge. Become curious about your thoughts and what you're telling yourself about what you need and what you don't have. Find ways that you already do have everything that you need, because we do. We have, each of us are born with exactly what we need. All of these circumstances are just, in the situation of alienation, are just ingredients that we need in order to make our final dish masterpiece. It's all working for you.